I mean, to build on what Brian's saying, it's like you know, you have to, you can't kind of manage or create by like with kind of, you do the music, I'll do everything else, a separate thing. I mean, the education process is so important for everybody to know what they're getting involved in, so that you know, and I think that for me it gets back to the same thing that I was just saying, that about what an artist needs. Is I look at it the same way from a management perspective. It's like, if I don't love it, if I'm not willing to walk through a wall for it, if I'm not willing to like put in these hours that are like ungodly and with a smile on my face, then why would I bother? Like I really, and there's a reason, like I don't manage by volume. I mean, I've been with Kanon since 2000 when we met, and when I met him, I was so fed up with the music business. I was like, if I was managing you, I would do this. I would refuse to do it for a year until I kind of really tuned into what he was and lined up with his purpose and what he wanted to do, and he was very clear as an artist, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I have new artists I'm working with, and I was almost angry at her when I met her, because she was just that dope that it got that same feeling again, that I was like, holy shit, the world needs to hear this. And I think that if you, as a manager, and if you're an artist out there looking for a manager or whatever, if you don't find someone who has that equal passion and brings that a creative aspect that you can go back and forth with and really build and have clear vision, then you're not. It's not gonna. You know, it's not gonna. You're not gonna reach your goals. And I think that you also as a manager, you have to do a test. You kind of have to test. You can't want it more than the person you're working with, because you can't line up all these things and set up, like if you're working with, be it indie or major, if they need stuff and you're like making all these commitments, and then what happens if the artist is just, you get about 3 flake outs, and then you get your teammate showing up,
yep,
and you've blown it. And that might not be on you as a manager, but the artist flaked out, or if the vice versa, if the artist is setting up or doing opportunities and I'm not calling people back, then same thing. You know, you're not going to get in business. And I think that with the progress we've had, I'm probably more proud of what we've said no to than what we've said yes to, because we had kind of a very clear goal. And they say that, you know, write your goal in pen and the plan in pencil, because I couldn't have imagined the things that would have happened along the way. But we stuck with music first, playing shows, you know, working the internet, because that's all we could afford for years while we were independent. I mean, I first had a conversation with Brian when he got hip to Kanon. He was like, yo, you need an agent? I was like, not yet, but I'll call you when we do. And sure enough, when we did need William Morris, we went over there and we've had a great relationship with him. But it's like, you couldn't have imagined that certain artists would dig Kanon and put him on tours and great things would happen to Coca-Cola, but the goal and where we've gotten to was very clear with us 10 years ago. So you need that same creative vision and that same commitment and passion in your manager or as a manager as you do as an artist, or you're going nowhere fast.
All right, cool. So Azim, what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes new managers make with some of these artists? That a lot of times you have a new artist who has, you know, the homeboy management and things of that nature.
Homeboy and momager.
Yeah.
Momager.
It's just that one. I mean, this is a business, and so I'm really into sports, and I've been thinking about trying to get into the sports management business. And the first thing I read was, you know, well, if you want to be an agent, you got to have a law degree. That means you got to go to school. That means you got to learn something, and you have to really understand it. If you look up the latest copy of ESPN magazine, the agents say, well, I have a law degree, but I don't really use it because it's basically just filling in the dotted line on the contracts, and most of the time I outsource it, but I know what the language in the contract says. So the number one thing is people don't have, I don't want to say real people, but they don't have professionals, and everybody doesn't start out as a professional. You have to be an intern one day or a rookie, you know, whatever it is. The starting point is everybody starts somewhere, and your reputation of being a professional is built over time and built over your relationships and the expertise that you present to the world as you're doing business. So I think that's the first thing. They don't have a professional approach to what they're doing. That'd be the best way to put it. And I think one thing about our business in particular, such a subjective business. You know, going back to the music and I like it and you hate it, you know, we could all hear the same song right now and have, there's 50 people in the room, 50 different emotions about that exact same song. And to that end, having someone who can not be emotional about what they're doing, they should have passion and drive, and I actually had that experience. I wanted it more than the artist did. They should have passion about the artists they're representing, but they also be smart enough to know how to guide them and navigate them. And you know what? You don't know anything about booking shows? Call an agent. Maybe the first couple times you'll get some free consultation. The next time they'll say, hey, listen, my fee is this. If you want us to represent you, we'll do that. If you're not sure how contracts work with distribution deals or record labels, call someone who's done it. I mean, the information is available and it's free. A lot of times, if you just want to do the research, that's one of the other beauties about the internet, is that the information is free, and there's also power in that. But I think that just having someone who has a professional approach, who's not afraid to ask questions, who's willing to do the work before you and after you to help carry your vision, because it has to be a vision involved as well, is probably the number one thing that I would preach to new managers. And the mistakes they make is when they walk into the label, whether it be an independent label or a major label, they know everything. Well, you know what? It's like reinventing the wheel. The reason that we're in business, whether you're a major or an independent or even an internet-based service, is that we do it better than anybody else. And if you could do it better than we could, then you could just start Azim Records and you don't need us. So be open to the information, be open to the process and the dialogue. These people get paid, I get paid to help you succeed. And the other thing I would say most managers make in terms of bad decisions or even their approach in dealing with the label is always adversarial. I didn't make you sign this contract. I didn't put in your head when you were 12 that you wanted to be Beyonce. You came to me. You came to my team. You came to my company. You asked us to help fulfill your vision. For that, we get paid. But we don't get paid if you don't get paid. So ultimately, if we put out 20 artists and you say we market $20 million, for 10 million in sales, ultimately we're all going to be out of work. So we have no vestige in your failure. We only are vested in your success. And I think that managers have to walk in there knowing, listen, I'm going to be vulnerable, I'm going to be open, I'm going to listen, and if it's something that I don't really like or something that doesn't really sit well with me, I don't have to react today. I can digest it and come back. I can ask questions. I can get opinions. I can ask other people. But you have to be open to the process, and it's a partnership. You're invested in the artist. We're invested in the artist. Together, we hope to win. It's a phrase that we say it on our book. Let's win together. There's no victory if you lose, and we don't win. We only win if you win. And when you lose, we actually lose twice.
Okay, cool.